Welcome to the most listened to golf in the world, the Fairways of Life show, on air, online, and around the world, with the most candid interviews, unforgettable stories, taking you beyond the ropes. Here's your host, New York Times best-selling author, Matt Adams.
What is going on, folks? Welcome into the Fairways of Life show on this Monday, the 22nd of April, 2024. Golf is underway as we speak. The broadcast is just coming on the air. You can find it on PGAtour.com. You can find it on Golf Channel for the conclusion of the RBC Heritage. And what a day. It was more than a day. It was a weekend, but yesterday, I think, was kind of pinnacle of it. Are we not in an incredible period for sport right now? I mean, and here's another question I have for you. When was the last time for you, every team that you favor, your favorite teams, they won on that day? Think about that for a second. When was the last time that happened? Now, yesterday wasn't concluded. If you're a golf fan, a PGA Tour fan, and Scottie Scheffler fan, try to close out, or maybe Wyndham Clark with what he did, which was incredible. 29 in his opening 9. But for me yesterday, I started with the English Premier League, right, with Liverpool wins. NHL hockey, there's a lot of stuff that I watch, but my favorite team are the New York Rangers. They win in the playoff over the Caps, and it was touch and go to begin. Major League Baseball, I was flipping between Red Sox and the Yankees. They won. And we had the golf on, which, Andrew, do you have a chance to import that photo I sent you with the two TVs? Dom makes fun out of me because of the two TVs we've got in the living room. You can see it there. That was when I was watching the baseball and the golf, but I was switching in between. My poor wife was sitting on the couch next to me and just going insane because I had the RBC Heritage on, and most of the time I had the Chevron on. And the Chevron was usually on the TV on the left, the big one. So you can see what's going on there. But in between that, there was Champs Tour, Billy Ho wins, Miles Russell at 15 years old, the ripe old age of 15, makes history on the Korn Ferry Tour, and he gets to start again because he finishes tied for 20th. Not only the history of making the cut, but finishes in a tie for 20th. Do you have the video of his golf swing? We sent to this one. This is courtesy of the PGA of America. Watch this, 15. Just let that play again. Yeah, I showed that twice, so as many of you as possible could be as upset as possible this morning watching that kid with that swing. Is that perfect? Unbelievable. It was truly unbelievable. And what Nelly Korda did, it's the headline story of today. Here's a tweet that Nike sent out. The future just made history. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but I guess I do. I guess I understand because she is the future, and she did just make history. 25 years old, 8 months and 24 days. Dom was crunching the numbers this morning and said that only 39 players have 2 major championships or 13 or more LPGA Tour victories. Nancy Lopez, who won 5 in a row in 1978, Annika won 5 in a row in 2005. Nancy writes, congratulations, Nelly. Tons of exclamation points. Fun watching you today. You are a great and humble champion. Keep it up. As to what she is doing, her place of history. The future makes history. Consecutive victories on the LPGA Tour. There you see it. Nancy did it, 78. When Annika did it, it was the 24-25 seasons. That's why I said 25. Nelly Korda is current 52nd player in tour history to earn at least 2 major championship titles. 9th player in tour history to win the Chevron Championship and the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. She's the youngest American to win her second major since Julie Inkster did it, ready? Wait for it, 40 years ago. She's the first American in 25 years to win 5 or more times on the LPGA season since Inkster did it in 1999. That's not consecutive there, note. That's 5 or more times in an LPGA Tour season. Now, as to the LPGA Hall of Fame point total, she now has 16 points. The threshold for entry is 27. And I know people hear that and they get confused and they're like, what? They're two different Halls of Fame. Like, to me, Nelly Korda has already earned her way into the World Golf Hall of Fame. 100%. Lock, stock, barrel, done. Gold medal, multiple majors. She already has 13 wins in the LPGA. Done. Fastest player to reach $2 million in a single season earnings in tour history. That stat we put up there because it is a fact for today, but it's kind of a joke fact because you look at what great champions have done, and you compare that to the way purses change over the years, and it doesn't have much. In other words, there's not a lot of historic reference I can give you on that other than to look back and go, they used to pay them what? That little? What Nelly did on the golf course was so impressive. This was on 17. Coming down the stretch, all the nerves, everything, hold it together, and she does this. Watch. Nearly a hole-in-one at the par 3 17th. When victory was secured, Nelly Korda, the question, everyone asks the question, right? Because remember, it's no longer in Palm Springs, Poppy's rabbit ears in the air pond. It's not a pond, it's a pool. Pond is good for you, though. And so the question comes down to, will she or won't she? And Nelly Korda, did she jump into the pond? Just keep letting that roll, Andrew. I think that was great form. That's the rest of her entourage in there. We're watching it live yesterday. Donna said something about, like, well, that's pretty good form. I said, Nelly Korda grew up in Florida. She's used to doing cannonballs. As you could see from the tweet from the LPGA, I thought the form was really good. But the will she, won't she? Because that's no traditional Poppy's pond there. That's just a pond. Remember, Dom, last year when we learned that they had like nets up there to keep the gators and keep the snakes out? How do you keep a snake out with a net? Question. I don't want to interrupt you, Dom, because I can see you're eating there.
I am eating, yeah.
Cheese crackers, it looks like to me.
No, it's peanut protein bar.
Oh, it's one of those health bars.
It's a health bar, yes. I'm very healthy.
So, do you remember when we were going through that last year, and when Lilia Vu jumped in there was a big green like splash? What, Andrew? What are you putting up?
He found old pictures.
That's from last year, right? When there was like remnants of shipwrecks and pond monsters and things. I don't know. I'm sure there's a big logistical reason why, but why not just make a pool out of that? Like they did with Poppy's pond. Just kind of carve out that one section there and, pool it. The pond is good for many, though. Yeah, that's it. There you go. There's the shot of it right there. So she paid it off with a jump in the pond. Absolutely incredible what Nelly Korda is doing. 5 consecutive wins. And on tomorrow's show, Scheffler's hitting his second shot into the par 4 16th, 140 yards away as we speak. On tomorrow's show, we're going to be joined by a member of the World Golf Hall of Fame to give us some perspective into what's happening right now in the game. Scheffler left is way short, by the way. It's cold out there this morning. Temperatures are someplace in the 50s. He has a 4-shot lead. Now he's only got finish up on 16. He's got a long putt for birdie coming up that looked to me like it was a good 30, 35 feet. Cantlay finishes at 15 under. He's done. He's shaking hands. So this is happening as we speak right now. So getting a perspective from a World Golf Hall of Famer that's been there, done that is going to be huge, and that's coming up on tomorrow's show. And tomorrow's show, we'll also have a veteran campaigner from the PGA Tour that has won on the PGA Tour and is not reticent about speaking his mind, which is always interesting to get some insight into these what otherwise are turbulent times from such a player. We are going to have, we've had fun with this, giving you voices from the different side of the game, especially with my background, my bias, if you please, of equipment manufacturing. We've been having the CEOs on from these equipment manufacturing companies to give us their perspectives. And the perspective we're about to give you this week is pretty unique. I would say completely unique against that same standard. You're talking about fighting through the mud and the rice paddies and the blood and the destruction, physical and emotional, of seeing heavy action on the front lines of Vietnam, and now being an executive of one of the top equipment manufacturing companies in the industry. Colin Morikawa's on the tee at the par 3 17th. And he is on 13 under par currently. Hit a nice shot in there, kind of released for him. So I'll continue to keep you up to date on how things are going on this playoff. You can find it at PGAtour.com. You can find it on Golf Channel right now. So with what Nelly Korda is doing, I mean, I'm trying to put it into a historic perspective with what we're seeing, not only from her and Ferris, but from Scottie Scheffler too. Right? And so I was saying to Dom before we went on the air, I would think the closest comparison we could make would be 2005. Why? Because in 2005, that's when Annika concluded her 5 consecutive starts win. And during that time, you had Tiger, which it's interesting, of course, when you follow Tiger's career, because they go through waves of heightened proficiency, winning. And this was his second wave. And so, Dom, in 2005 with Tiger, we're not talking about him winning necessarily 5 in a row, but we're not talking about with Scottie either. If Scottie wins this week, it'll be his second win in a row. It just so happens it will be during an incredible stretch, which we'll get into when we talk about Scottie here in a second. But take us through, Dom, when you opened up what Tiger did in 2005 with winning the Masters, winning the Open, remember that shot in your life, all of it that goes with Tiger Woods. Just give us a glimpse.
Yeah, he didn't win 5 in a row by any means, but it's not like he was playing poorly. So from April when he won the Masters, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In a 10-event stretch, a lot of what we've been talking about with Scottie Scheffler. In fact, Andrew, can you put Scottie Scheffler's last 11 events up? I think we have a graphic for that. Now, technically speaking, Scottie Scheffler has not won yet today. He will. His birdie putt, it was just away there at the 16th. He came up just a little bit short. He'll tap that in for a par. He just has a couple holes left, and he's going to win. It
says, with a win, he'd be the first player to win 4 times in a 5-start stretch since 2007, 2008. First player to win the Masters and the RBC Heritage since 1985, and would represent its 10th career win. That's the graphic that just went up from CBS.
So if you're looking on our screen there, you'll see a win question mark, right? He'd win again. So that's obviously 4 and 5. Then there you see his last 11 starts. Now, what you're looking at there is not too dissimilar from what I'm about to read from Tiger. And you're looking for a comparison. I know you were talking about that graphic saying 2007, 2008. But we're trying to find historical perspective between when someone on the LPGA was as dominant as Nelly is. Right?
Don, what are you talking about 2007,
and
2008?
PGA Tour.
I didn't say anything about 2007.
Well, someone on the PGA Tour.
Oh, you talk about the CBS graphic. Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm saying that's not as interesting or valuable because we're trying to provide context as to when there was absolute rock-solid dominance
on both tours. That's what I'm getting at. Yeah, both a female dominating star and a male.
Historically, the only other time really is 2005, and this is what Tiger was doing. He won the Masters. He finished 11th at Wachovia. Missed the cut. third at Memorial, runner-up at the U.S. Open, runner-up at the Western Open, won the Open, runner-up at the Buick Open, fourth at the PGA, and then he won the WGC event. Now, he won a few more events after that, but that's a 10-event stretch where he had he had like three wins and 3 runner-ups.
Yeah.
So he was winner or runner-up in 6 of 10 events in a row. And, we just showed the graphic from Scheffler. Scheffler was, if I'm being honest, probably doing a little bit better than Tiger if you look at the totality of that. But that's probably the closest thing we have. The only other question I would have, Matt, is, and now we're testing the limits of my strength on history with golf, which are not very elastic. When Byron Nelson was winning, because he won, I think it was 11 in a row, but didn't he also have a stretch where he won like 8 in a row?
He won that year, 1945. He won 11 in a row, but wait for it. Ready? He won 18 times that season.
Well,
Let
what
that
I'm
settle
asking
in.
is,
Well, hold on a second. I want to pay this off because you're
Okay.
asking about Byron Nelson, and I've got something else historically I want to jump to quickly before we forget this. We don't have to go back as far as the end of the Second World War, because the criticism from people would be like, well, you're talking about the Second World War and depleted fields, et cetera, et cetera. Remember, he was doing that, and when he did that, Ben Hogan and Sam Steed were back from the Second World War amongst. But the thing I want to ask you about, Don, because you went down this road, are you ready for it? Because you took us at 2005. Remember, with Nelly, with what she's done, we're talking about 5 consecutive wins so far. With her, it's a so far, but the other 2, it's where they ended, 5 consecutive wins. Nancy Lopez in 1978, and then Annika Sorenstam in 2005, right? Jump to 1978. Dom, maybe your sense where I'm starting to go now. 1978. Nancy wins 5 in a row and 8 total in her rookie season. Can you believe this, right? Here's what I want you to do, Dom. Open up 1978 for Jack Nicklaus. Tell me what Jack Nicklaus did in 1978 in terms of major seasons, total wins. Where did some of those wins come perhaps in consecutive times? Because I'm always fascinated about the world of sport, where we have these bridges to absolutely incredible things that happen, and in time somehow makes those bridges for us. We just talked about it from 2005 and how there are similarities in the bridge of dominance between what Tiger Woods did and what Annika did with what we're seeing from what Nelly is doing and what Scottie Scheffler is attempting to do.
not quite there. 4 wins and 2 runner-ups.
Scheffler made par, by the way. Hold on one second. Scheffler made par at 16. He just hit his tee shot into the par 3 17. It's about 20 feet short of the hole. Go ahead, Don.
That's not terribly entertaining. I got to be honest. There's 3 holes left. He's got a 30-shot lead.
He's
There's
got
nothing to talk
a
about there.
4-shot lead. Yeah. Well, look at.
Okay.
I always ask you guys a question.
So-
Do you want a dominant player? Do you want a dominant player? Everybody comes back by majority and says, yes, we want a dominant player. But then when you have a win that a player has a multiple shot win, especially when it's a cleanup win like this on a Monday morning, but they have a multiple shot win, and people go, oh, it's boring. Well, that's a dominating player. Dominating players do that. All right, 1978,
Well,
Jack Nicklaus.
I think it's a different. This is a different question for a different day, but
Okay.
with the dominance, there has to be an element of, I'm not sure what the right terminology would be, excitability. The player has to have an it factor for it to connect. The
Yep.
way Tiger did, the way Spieth did in 2015. And I'm not sure that Scheffler or Nelly has that. Obviously, within the game of golf, they do. But outside the game of golf,
I kind of feel like Nelly has
I don't
more
know
of
if
it
they do.
than. I feel like Nelly has more of it than Scottie. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I'm just, again, I think there's 2 kinds of it factors, right? There's an it factor for the golf fans like us, right? And all these players that
Yeah.
are winning consecutive events, they're going to have an it factor, and we understand that and why. But that secondary it factor, the transcendent part, where they connect with regular people who don't follow golf, That's rare. And there's just not a lot of players in history that had that. Anyway, to 1978,
Jack Nicklaus,
Jack had
1978.
4 wins and 2 runner-ups that whole season. So I
With a
don't think
major.
it's necessarily a comparison. However, he had a nice stretch at the beginning of the year from February to April. Runner-up, win, 7th place. Pretty
Seventh
good
place
stretch
would have been the
right there.
Masters, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's the closest thing that I can see.
So 4 wins in a season
but
in a major.
I don't
and
think
we're-
that's the
and-
same.
And we're
That's not the
ho-humming.
same as 2005. It doesn't.
But what I'm saying is 4 wins in a season, including a major championships, and we're ho-humming it.
We're not ho-humming it. You are
You just
talking
meh.
about all.
did a meh.
No, you're talking about all-time history ever. When have
Yeah.
we ever seen anything specifically like what is happening right now? And the answer is 2005. And more specifically, the answer is probably never. Because Scheffler is probably winning at a higher percentage right now than Tiger was in 2005. And both Nelly and Scheffler are doing it at the exact same time.
True. That is really where I was going today. I'll
So
grant you
both
that.
of
I'll
those
grant you
things are happening simultaneously. So I think you can make a very strong argument that the answer is this has never happened, ever.
that. Yeah.
And that's incredible.
That's kind of where I was going, to
And
be honest with you.
it doesn't seem like either of them are slowing down. I mean, once Scottie's wife has a
Scottie
baby,
won the Masters last
that might
week.
screw things up a little bit.
Yeah.
That might screw things up. I'll take a break.
Did you just slip in a let's take a break at the end of that thing?
No, I said he'll take a break after.
Oh,
he
I
has
thought
a
you were
baby.
like trying to do like a
he's gonna
subliminal
win 6
thing.
and 7 and 8. You know, he's going to win like 5, 6, 7 tournaments in an 8-tournament stretch. And he's like, I got to go. I just had my first kid. Everyone's going to be like, but what about 10 in a row?
Well, remember, it's consecutive starts. It's consecutive starts. So if he takes a break, plays with the new baby, and comes back and wins. I mean, he just won last week. I heard him say in an interview, he didn't show up till Tuesday, played 9 holes to get ready. And they were like, aren't you exhausted? Well, I tried to get as much rest as I could. What? When? You came back, you literally went to like a bar in the neighborhood and sent out pictures of you in the green jacket. Which was kind of cool. That the fact that he did that kind of adds a little it factor. Geez, he just hit a great putt at 17. He just missed it. He's murmuring. That is a good question, though. The idea of what we're seeing is absolutely historic in proportion. Right? Is it inspiring you? Right, I saw a little give and take this morning on social media, X. I'm getting used to calling it X. And it was Ian Poulter, and he was going after Doug Ferguson from the Associated Press because Doug Ferguson said something about Scottie Scheffler. I don't know if it was consecutive weeks at number 1. I don't know if it was a number 1 ranked player doing things that you would expect of a number 1 ranked player, whatever it was. And then Doug did this kind of funny thing. It wasn't like Doug to me because he's a really solid, pretty much down the middle journalist. And he wrote something about like, well, no Taylor Gooch, but. And so Ian goes after him and says, Doug, come on. You know better than that. He said, full credit. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. Full credit to Scottie Scheffler. He is clearly the number 1 player in the world right now, right? But to use the rankings as a way of making a statement relative to the field, to other players, or what have you, you can't do that now because the rankings don't include everybody. There's an asterisk on rankings. Notwithstanding the fact, by evidence by what Scottie's doing, I don't think there's anyone to argue that right now he's the hottest player in the world. I do wonder, and I do think that if he made par, by the way, so he remains at 20 under, and he has a 4-shot lead going into the last. I do wonder if Rahm was still on the PGA Tour, if they were going head-to-head, if something different would have happened. Not that Scottie's not playing great. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's a smoke and mirrors. I'm just saying I think that Jon Rahm plays his best when he has a chip. and he would have had multiple opportunities to go after him instead of just the picture that we got at Augusta. And as I've said to you guys a number of times, I think it's tough to judge too much from Augusta this year because of the weather that we got the first 2 rounds. To make any definitive statements about how somebody is playing or not playing or whatever comparisons that came out of it. Some of that I thought was kind of crazy, comparing one tour to another and all the rest. I think everyone needs to pump the brakes on that. Let's have more opportunity when people are playing against each other. And we do have Nelly coming up. I want you guys to hear from her. I think what she's doing is amazing. But I am curious about something that Dom kind of touched on, and we talked about a little bit. Dominance is dominance. History is history, and they're significant, and they mean something, but are you invested in it? Do you care? Unless the individual somehow sparks interest in you. Right? I think that's natural. That's who we are, what we are. All those shows that used to be on, like they would call them reality shows, Survivor, and they all basically had some kind of element of survival. Big Brother. There are other ones out there. The crazy ones my wife likes to watch. Bachelor Island or something like that. What's that one called? Bachelor in Paradise. Right? You're shaking your head, Andrew. Do you like it or no? Andrew's denying it. I think he protests too much. But what I'm getting at with that is, and you guys already saw my photo. I have the 2 TVs. Throw that up there again, Andrew. I have the 2 TVs, so Donna can watch whatever she wants because that one above the fireplace is for me. So I've always got something on there that I want to watch. So she's watching the other shows, and I said to her, I really can't get into these shows unless I feel vested with one of the, I'll call them characters, but you know what I mean, one of the people that are on the show. By the way, Scheffler hit a beautiful shot at 18. I'm sure that's a shock to everybody, a news bulletin on this Monday. Well, you never know, Dom. You never know. We'll let it play itself out. What do you got? Just another log in a fight? You know where I'm going with that whole thing with the we call it an it factor, but how do we know that we're not particular or unusual with what we invest ourselves in? And maybe other people love the way, another athlete could. I'm sure there's huge groups of people that are fans of Scottie Scheffler. What I'm just trying to wonder is he a personality that can thrust the game of golf up onto his shoulders and everybody buys in? You know what I'm talking about? At the Masters,
yeah, I do.
I bumped into some neighbors of my wife, and this was a woman that was almost 80 years old, and her sisters, both of whom are older than her, and they bumped into us, and obviously they knew that I was covering the Masters, and the oldest sister says to me, "How's Tiger doing?" That's what I'm talking about. Right? How's Tiger doing? So will you have people of all age groups, from teenagers all the way up or younger, all the way up to people in their 80s or beyond, that are going to say, how's Scottie doing? If that defines what I'm talking about. Not sure. What do you got, Dom? You got more historic reference for us? Oh.
Sorry. My mic wasn't on. That's my bad.
Yeah,
I'm talking on and off there. You know what I was doing is I was telling Andrew to take the question marks off because we built all these graphics for Scottie Scheffler.
That wasn't on the air when you said that?
His 10th win, question mark? Is this when he went?
Oh, I didn't know that wasn't on the air, Andrew. He said maybe we should take the question mark off. Go ahead, take it off live. There it is. He hasn't won it yet, folks. He just hit his drive on 18.
No,
but when Dom said that, I'm laughing like a madman because I thought it was on the air.
Over.
What's that?
No. So the question was, what did you watch this weekend? Because we were talking about all the stuff that was going on. There's a lot going on. And we've got some people coming in. They're watching all kinds of stuff. I watched in part all 3 of the events. Bob says, I watched hockey and golf. And for the golf, I watched the PGA and LPGA. Derek says, I watched mostly the LPGA, but also a little bit of the RBC, which is interesting, right? And then there's some people on here who didn't know the Heritage was still happening. They're like, I thought that was over. Scheffler won? It's like, yeah, he did win, but they haven't finished playing. They got to actually
He didn't
finish
win
playing
yet,
for it to
Dom.
be-
You stop saying that.
Steve says he
close.
won. He won. Come on. What are we talking about here? So Steve said, I watched Punta Cana, which we're going to get into later. Billy Horschel won the alternative event. I don't know what they call it, alternate event. I'm not sure what they're calling it now. But he won the other PGA Tour
those
event,
names you just
which
said.
was his, I think it was his 8th PGA Tour win.
It is his 8th,
Matt, which is pretty cool.
It is cool.
And then, people are now getting into the it factor. Also, Scheffler is uninteresting, they say. Not saying it's bad, but he's just uninteresting. Tiger is and was the gold standard for those things. And there's folks mentioning things like tennis, saying that Federer and Sampras weren't necessarily players that had the it factor, but they sort of eventually got it. Over so many years of winning, they became the it factor.
Did you think so? I
actually
never
agree with
thought-
that with
I never
Roger
thought
Federer, 'cause when
Sampras
Roger
did.
Federer came out, he did not have it, but he just became winning so consistently, it sort of developed into an it factor.
Right.
Which is interesting.
I think
concept to think about.
Sampras had respect, but I don't think he ever developed the it factor. Federer did. With the whole fashion
Yes,
stuff he did
I
and
agree
the
that he
watches
did.
and all that.
Ironically, who had the it factor in my opinion in that time period was Andre Agassi. He had more of an
definitely.
it factor than Federer
100%.
and Sampras.
Until he lost his
interestingly
hair.
enough. Because of all of his persona off of the tennis court, right?
Yeah.
I think who you are and your personality when you're not playing whatever it is that you're playing plays an impact on that. Anyway,
Yes.
I'm getting off base. I found another historical perspective.
Dom, you
here.
realize we're a talk show. You can't
for-
get off base. Wherever we go, we go.
We can get off base. We are not on track here.
See?
The first segment was supposed to be Nelly Korda won 5 times in a row. Isn't this historically amazing? Here are some graphics from Nelly. Here are some press sound from Nelly talking about how great she is. Now we're talking about it factor. I'm about to tell you about Mickey Wright. So we're not on base here. So in 1960 and 1961,
Oh, you're going
Mickey
Arnold
Wright,
Palmer
who's
on us. with Mickey
essentially-
Wright. Go on. Good. Yeah. Yep.
Mickey Wright is basically the best women's player who ever lived. In 1960, she won 6 times, including a major. In 1961, she won 10 times, including 3 majors. Okay? In 1960, Arnold Palmer won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, including 2 majors. In 1961, Arnold Palmer won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times and a major. So I'm not saying it's exactly the same. But I would lean towards right now that stretch being more impressive than 2005 with Tiger and Annika.
Oh,
So right now we're talking about Mickey Wright and Arnold Palmer in
life,
1960,
have you-
1961.
Wow. That is saying something. Oh, by the way, Scottie
What do you mean?
airmailed the green.
Did you not hear what I just read? Do I need to
I
read
hear a
that
lot of
again?
blah, 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 blah,
10 times and
Yada,
3
yada, yada.
majors in 1 year?
Scottie just airmailed the green at 18, by the way. He's up against
Oh
the
my God, he's
grandstand.
got a quadruple bogey.
He might get relief there, but if he sculls it
Oh,
across the green and
4
then
times
has,
and then hits
he
it in the
sculls
crowd,
it across
maybe
the
he'll
green
go to a playoff.
and then has multiple penalty strokes in that, that area there, that kind of Surfside area by 18 at Harbor Town. It's happened.
What would happen if he got a text from Meredith on the green?
What would the text be? I know what you're thinking.
I'm in labor. Come now.
I'm in labor. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Would
Hold
it
on,
become
hold on.
home?
I got to make this putt. Let me just make this putt. Just one putt.
Pick up ice cream on the way? Yeah, would that be seen as like something really rude, like a regular person would do, like if they get that text from their spouse, come home for whatever reason? All I have to do is get up and down at 18, and I'll be right home. Be a great story though.
I know he said he would leave immediately, but I got to believe if they're walking up 18 right now to the green, if his phone, which is probably in his caddy's bag, has a text saying, I'm going into labor, I got to believe. I mean, he's got to walk past the green to get to his car anyway. You might as well just put it in and win the tournament.
Yeah, just
might as well finish.
blade it up there and 2-putt, and you still win by multiple strokes. Now, if they have a daughter, does he name the daughter Augusta or Azalea
Hold on a second.
or Green
I feel
Jacket?
like you poo-pooed my analogy in the 60s here.
No, I didn't poo-poo your analogy, but the fact that you had to go to 2005, right, when Annika won 5 straight, and where Tiger wins multiple majors, right, in a stretch that was unbelievable, and now all of a sudden, if you want to have this discussion, then you have to take into account depth of field and a lot of things that give historic relevance and not just numbers.
Yeah, but Arnold Palmer was, I don't know about this. I mean, I don't know about this. I feel like this argument could get real messed up real quick here. If you're talking about depth of field and all this garbage, I don't.
Look, what I'm saying is you're misunderstanding where I'm coming from.
Depth of field in 2005 on the LPGA Tour when Annika was dominating is nowhere even remotely close to where it is now.
What are you talking about? It was great in 2000. Dom. I'm not saying that 1960 and 1961 were not incredibly impressive. This was when Arnold Palmer, while sitting on a plane next to journalist Bob Drum, originally from Pittsburgh, conceived the concept of the modern Grand Slam. He was going for the modern Grand Slam. That's why he went over to the Open. Now, the Open was a shell of what it is today, to be fair. But he went over anyway, and in 1960, he lost to Kel Nagel. And if you do your history on what happened at that 1960 Open, which happened to be at the Old Course, then you find out that Arnold Palmer has a pretty good argument for the way that one was handled because of when the weather came in was not really fair with the way he started and the wipeout around, okay? So what I'm saying to you is what Mickey Wright did and what Arnold Palmer did are mythical, absolutely mythical, and those years are incredible, and I love it. Where I kind of reared back when you threw a haymaker from behind and we're like, go to break, was when I was like, whoa. To take that and say that it trumps 2005, I'm not so sure about that. And if you notice, I don't really do a lot of that. I don't really declare that one year beat another year. That's why I was saying 1978 was really impressive. Jack Nicklaus winning multiple times in a major, 4 times in a major. Nancy Lopez wins 8 times. Okay, is that less impressive than what's going on right now? No. So anyway, it's that's the reason why you kind of threw me off there when you declared that it was better than 2005. I'm not sure that it is.
I don't know if I declared it was better.
It was definitive. You pounded your fist. Food was flying out of your mouth.
I'm trying to find comparisons to what's happening right now. Because I think the argument we're trying to make is this is literally what's happening today is unprecedented. And I'm not sure that we have found anything that's comparable. I think
Scottie didn't scull it into the swampy area, by the way.
Oh, he's going to win? Andrew, where do we stand on those question marks? They've been deleted? Go ahead, Andrew. Put it in there. That's it. We're calling it.
He's already declared.
He won the RBC Heritage
before he signs his card. Meredith could go into labor right now.
Look, 10th win. It's on the sheet. It's over. That's it. 10th win. And we also updated, by the way, his top 10 finishes and his top 5 finishes. At 27, he's like 120-something starts into his career. He now has 39 top 5 finishes, Scottie Scheffler does. He's turning into a bit of a machine, if I'm being honest. I mean, the gap that he has in the FedEx Cup standings and the world number 1 is becoming sizable.
He's drawing me in, I'll tell you that. We talk about the it factor. I am really interested now. Next time he tees it up, can he? Next time Nelly tees it up, can she? I think it's really interesting. I don't know about you guys. I was saying at the start of the show, but I was super excited about yesterday. And I'll tell you, we got out early. Don and myself played golf early on Sunday. We were in a tournament. And then to come back and have all of this sport going on which again for me starts early because the English Premier League, and was able to watch Liverpool with their dominating performance. We got a lot for you today. And as I always promise you guys, whatever we don't get to, because this segment, Dom, because of your irresponsibility and your management style, just went 40 minutes. Segment 1, 40 minutes.
Well, the RBC Heritage is on right now. The barn burner, as Scottie stands over another putt.
Yeah, he left it. He's got about a 1 foot tap in.
Shockingly,
for par.
he didn't take an iron.
He's not marking. The moment of victory just took place, folks. No, it was a bogey. Wow, bogey at 18.
Yeah,
he finishes 19 under, and he only won by 3. So Scottie scratches his way to victory. Handshakes all around. It's incredible what we're seeing. It is truly incredible what we're seeing. Yeah, so now, Dom, we are at 41 minutes for segment 1. When we're on NBC Sports on Golf Channel tomorrow, how long is the maximum we can go in segment 1? Just as a comparison of years.
I mean, I technically 11 or 12 minutes, but a lot of times you run to about 15, and I'm really screaming in your ear.
All right, no, I just want to know because that officially
got a break. Oh my God, got a break.
Based upon the logic that you have shown us today, that makes segment 1 from today's show the greatest segment 1 from any show we've ever done or will ever do. Dom's like ish. So what was your question today? I forgot what it was through all the discussion and banter.
I was just asking what people watched this weekend because there was too much. I mean, that's something I'd like to get into today, is how golf can separate from this fray, because I think they're doing a bad job.
How could any sport separate from the fray right now?
I think it's quite easy, in fact, and I'd love to talk about it.
Whoa! Seriously, all right. You went to a hockey playoff game, which is shocking. The world's gonna be shocked to know that Dom would go to a hockey playoff game, right? What day did you go?
Sure,
Saturday?
It happened. I don't remember what day it was.
I think it was Saturday. Yeah, I think it was Saturday. You saw the Hurricanes, right?
That's true.
So yesterday, you had stuff going on with the kids, right? Half the day, most of the day.
Well, I mean, on the weekends, yeah, it's nonstop.
I'm saying, what time did you? Let me rephrase the question. What time were you able to sit down in front of a TV yesterday? 3, 4?
About 2.
All right, 2. Earlier than I thought. Okay, by the time you settled in, there were Major League Baseball's games going on, but you hate Major League Baseball. You despise it with a passion. But you had...
Okay, that's simply not true, but all right.
It's not far off, though.
Putting words in my mouth early here. 43 minutes into segment 1.
It's not far off, is it, though, Dom? Fairness.
If I made a list of sports, baseball would not be near the top.
Oh, okay, fine. All right. So when you came home, you had NBA going on. They all mean something. The games all mean something now. You had NBA going on. You had hockey playoffs, which I realize you don't watch hockey unless it's live. That's fair enough. You've made that statement clear.
Also not true, but okay.
You had golf happening left and right. Right? Left and right.
Yeah.
You had all of these sports going on at the same time. I don't know if you watched any EPL or not. I don't think you got home in time to see too much of that. Maybe you saw a little bit of the Man United game. So here's my question.
No, I watched. The only thing I got to watch was some of the Nottingham Forest game that was on at like 7 in the morning.
Oh, you watched early. Okay.
That was like very, very early, yeah.
Big day tomorrow for the EPL. A big day tomorrow. So my question is, with all of that, is when you settled in to your one TV and watched it with your one dying eye, what did you watch?
What I watched was a quadruple mixture of NBA playoff games, NHL hockey, Nelly Korda, and Scottie Scheffler. That's what I watched a mixture of.
What did you do, like any commercial?
That's not central to my complaint. I disagree. I honestly disagree with your assessment before you asked me that question, that how are they supposed to, like, let's take golf specifically. This is a golf show. How are they supposed to separate from the fray? That's very
45
easy,
minutes.
Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is my fault now.
It's all your fault. You have to
they're
manage. You're a
supposed to-
producer.
Listen to me. Listen. So, how is golf supposed to separate from the fray, right? They can. Here's how you do it. Okay?
Yes.
If golf is trying to make money as an entertainment property, then they need to be playing golf when other things are not going on.
Okay.
There are enough golf tournaments going on around the world every week, women and men, various tours globally,
Yep.
that there should be important golf taking place every day of the week. Full stop. The biggest complaint I have about yesterday, in a very general sense, is you've got Billy Horschel playing in Punta Cana, chasing his 8th victory. Compelling story. Korn Ferry Tour event going on. A 15-year-old makes the cut. Compelling story. Nelly Korda is going for 5 in a row on the LPGA Tour. Very, very compelling story, as
And
we
a
talked
major.
about.
Major.
Historic story. Scottie Scheffler, in a major. Scottie Scheffler is in a signature event. Again, huge event. Going for 1 million wins in a 10-day stretch or whatever. Again, incredibly compelling. All right? All of these events are, and there's a Champions Tour event. I know it's towards the bottom of the list in terms of interest, but it's still happening. These things were all taking place at the same exact time. What are we doing? And there were some people complaining online, whoa, how am I supposed to watch this? You know, one's on Peacock, one's on Golf Channel, one's on CBS, one's over here, Well, what are they supposed to do? If you have 5 events happening at the exact same time, and they're all quote unquote important, they can't, there's only so many channels, especially in the golf space, right? So to me, this is the simplest, stupidest answer ever. Okay? You play on different days. Like, if you want Nelly Korda to be front and center story, and ratings and access to network television and all these things are important, then you put them in a spot when there's nothing else happening, and that's where you have it finish.
And when is that?
It's a Tuesday night. It's whatever it is. That's when it happens.
But they're
Like,
playing.
let me ask you a very specific question.
Yeah.
What's more important, TV ratings or ticket sales?
Oh, it's
what
clearly
generates
TV
more revenue?
ratings. It's all TV.
Okay, then you're going to get more people watching on a Tuesday night than you're going to get watching on a Saturday
you're
or
saying
Sunday
Tuesday
night when there's
but
9
you have to
million
think
things
about,
happening at once.
You got to think about time zones. They could have gone in Texas. Theoretically, they could have gone to 8 p.m. Right, lighting wise. It's a little bit. It's a little risky
No,
in terms of a playoff.
I don't like your argument. Why are they playing on the same day, Matt? I'm not talking about
I understand what
RBC
you're saying.
and
that
LPGA.
things,
I'm talking about all of them.
But you first of all have to start with gradients. So when you're talking about Korn Ferry Tour, why the Korn Ferry Tour finishes on a weekend, no idea. Makes no sense. Mike McCarley, who was then president of Golf Channel, I remember Mike saying to me that he's trying to get the tours to finish at different times. And the reason why he was doing it was so that Golf Channel could have live coverage on almost a daily basis. Okay, where's the downside? So I agree with you on that standpoint. The Korn Ferry Tour should be placed someplace else where it's not competing against the traffic and the eyeballs and the hearts and minds of fans from that standpoint. After that, you have to start to look at it. Yesterday's RBC Heritage. Now, this is a yesterday instead of a whole week discussion. It's a limited field. They knew that there was a risk of weather coming in, and they didn't move the tee times up so that it ended early. Right? Again, why? Don't know. Was it a mistake? If it's a mistake, just say it. Say, yeah, we missed that one. We should have. Sorry, my IFB cord is hanging out. Dom's going to yell at me.
Oh my gosh, we should take a break.
How we doing? We're going to go for the all-time opening segment. We're at 49 minutes right now. But how and why they didn't move that, I have no idea. That event should have ended before the storms even started. So it should have been over by about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which from a golfer's standpoint would have left the Chevron in a position where it was now unchallenged in terms of its position to finish, in terms of that from that perspective. There's nothing I think you can do about PGA Tour champions, again, unless you're going to finish them on some other day. Finish them on a Friday. But I'm always a little bit suspect when you have an event as they start to grow in stature. When you have an event that means something, okay, well, maybe we can finish on a Saturday instead of finishing on Sunday so we avoid some of the concluding championship traffic. But Saturday's television sports schedule was no less crowded than Sunday's was. Maybe it didn't mean as much because of the championships on the golf side, but when you're talking about playoff games, et cetera, regardless of the sport, there was a lot of traffic on Saturday. So I think what you're saying, Dom, is good, and I think it has merit. And I think that the PGA Tour missed the boat on not getting these players out early yesterday in order for them to finish on a Monday morning. That sound you heard is the thud. Who had the ability to watch that conclusion at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning? The vast majority of people are literally driving to work someplace or already there, and they're like, whatever, he's up by 4. We think he's going to win anyways. He's only got 3 holes left. That had to have been a bigger impact for the almighty TV ratings than what they would have gotten if they had sent them off early yesterday. Somebody made a big error. Somebody should be called into somebody's office and go, tell me how this happened.
I just feel like you're still thinking too much inside the box. Okay, if your goal is entertainment and ratings and revenue, right? If that's the goal, which I think we would all like to believe it's not that. Yeah. I think we'd all like to believe it's not that, right? They're playing for other things and this, that, and the other. And all of those things may be true, but realistically, it's ratings, it's revenue, it's TV, right? I don't understand why you can't have things finishing on odd times and odd days in general. If you're chasing ratings,
it comes down to the philosophy of if you have the philosophy that if
there's
you
not
build
a lot
it, they
of
will
stuff
come.
finishing on Friday nights.
But you keep
If that
saying
means
nights.
that the
You're talking
LPGA
about
needs to get
sports
stadium
unless
lights and finishing.
But
tournaments
hockey and
at
baseball
8
and
p.m.
basketball can do that. Golf doesn't have lights.
Yeah, but it could. They've played a couple DP World Tour events. Like, this is something I think is interesting with LIV. I'm really shocked that when LIV launched, that they were doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't understand why they decided to finish on Sundays like everybody else. I think that was a mistake, especially when they're trying to be separate and they're trying to be like, here we are. I'm talking about golf just putting themselves in this confined box constantly. There's no reason why they can't. Why can't we finish all golf tournaments Sunday morning? Split up the nines. Finish your last 9 holes, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Sunday morning when everyone's eating breakfast and no one's going anywhere.
Well, they're not going to.
I mean, the Premier League mornings have tried to section off that.
You could get done in a full field event by about 2 p.m. if you really push it. Brunch.
Yeah, but I'm talking about splitting up the nines. Again, Matt,
that's
try and
with all
think
that.
outside the box. You're talking about
I'm
entertainment.
just telling you, that's
you're
as fast
talking
as you
about
can do it.
ratings.
Yeah.
No, 2 hours. Nine. No, if you're
2
playing
hours.
9 holes, you can get it done in 2.5 hours.
9 holes? What are you talking about?
I'm saying you move the conclusion of the events for you pick the tournament to
So
Saturday
have them play
or Sunday
27
morning
on
early.
Saturday, they come back and finish with 9 on Sunday?
Correct.
Okay.
Matt, you need to think outside the box. If we're trying to get ratings, right? Can we compete against
Andrew, we're
NBA
putting a blood
finals,
test in
NBA
as part
playoffs?
of employment.
Listen, you can't compete with those. But the ratings for Premier League, right, on like a
Yes.
Sunday morning are not astronomical. They're not getting NBA playoff ratings. So you're not fighting against the NBA or something behemoth
But yeah, wait
on
a
a
minute. Now
Sunday
you're talking about a
afternoon.
global sport. Are you talking about USA ratings?
Yes, because that's what drives revenue is the U.S. ratings for golf, specifically for golf.
Okay.
The PGA
insulting
Tour doesn't
everybody
have
for
a
this.
rights deal internationally for $1 billion.
How do you know?
They have a rights deal in the United States for $1 billion.
Hold on a second.
What?
It's 55
Hey,
minutes
listen.
after the hour.
Yeah, you want to get over an hour? Let's go over an hour.
John's all juiced
I'm
up on
being dead
creatine
serious.
and
I feel like
mushroom
you
drinks.
think what I'm talking about is crazy here. Why is what
No,
I'm
you're definitely talking
about
crazy.
so
You
far
just said
outside
you
the box?
wanted 27
Why?
holes on Saturday, 9 holes on Sunday.
Yes. No,
When
not
you're
9
Mrs.
holes.
Doubtfire
No.
glasses, then pointing fingers
Listen,
at us.
You're talking about. Listen. You're misinterpreting. Yes, it's 9 holes, but I'm talking about ratings and entertainment. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the finish to an event being watched by a maximum amount of people that can
And
watch
you
it.
think the maximum amount of
Yesterday-
people is at 11 a.m. on a Sunday morning or Saturday?
I think earlier. I think if listen to me. I think they should finish on Tuesday nights. But you think there's no audience there. You think the audience is only on the weekend.
Wait a minute. You keep saying that, and I keep going back to it. Who finishes on a Tuesday night? Are you talking about golf?
No. I
Okay,
said these tournaments should finish in the evenings on weekdays. I said they need to finish. It's just iced tea. It's just regular iced tea. I said the tournaments should finish on weekdays. And you said nobody watches on weekdays. So if your argument is people only watch TV on the weekends, well, then you don't want tournaments finishing in the middle of playoff games and NFL games. They need to be moved to a time when those things aren't happening.
Yeah, I mean,
That's in the
don't get
morning.
me wrong. People will watch during the week. Our NCAA tournament coverage, men and women, just showed us that. But those are, again, prime time games. And golf has the occasion going into prime. That's why the USGA loves to take golf and take it out west. Because now you've got the U.S. Open into prime time where the vast majority of the population of the country lives, which is on the eastern half of North America. Which, by the way, Dom, speaking of your travel and your schedules, I think it was Friday, you went down to Pinehurst to check in on things with the USGA and the developments surrounding the U.S. Open at Pinehurst #2. Give us a glimpse into that. I'm not going to break if that's what you're going to try to guilt me into, because I'm not doing it. We're at 57 minutes in segment 1 right now. What happened at Pinehurst?
Well, yes, I did. I did actually, in fact, get a chance to do this. An incredible thank you to Janine Driscoll at the USGA. She gave me a tour. I had a chance to sit down and talk with her. We ate at the Deuce. That's Pine Wild. I'll talk about that in a second. Andrew, go to 212 and 213. That's obviously, yeah, all right, here we go. Yeah, there we go. All right, so this is Pinehurst #2, where they're hosting the U.S. Open in just a couple months from now. You could see they're already starting to put up. I had lunch there with Janine at the USGA. This is
That's the Deuce,
the patio
right?
at the Deuce.
Yeah.
Yes. It's a wonderful little restaurant there. If you've never been to Pinehurst, you must go. That's the 18th green at Pinehurst #2, the famous Payne Stewart putt.
Dude, how
You
big
can
is
see
that
they've already started
grandstand on
putting
the
up
right?
A bunch of the stuff. It's huge. Andrew, go to that Payne Stewart statue. That's just to the right of that video there. This is another video I took. Obviously, the iconic statue, which, ironically, I was told, man, look at that. I get goosebumps looking at that.
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
I scan across here. You can see, again, the same.
Wait a minute. Whoa, Dom, you
scaffolding
just
getting
said
put it
I
up.
was told, and then you left a dangling participle. What? You were told what?
I think they might. There's the douche right there. Making me think about the food I had. I had a hamburger.
Deuce, he said, by the way.
the deuce. So you can still have play. There's play going on. Those were some random people playing #2 right there. Lucky people right there. I love that trophy. Or not trophy, it's statue, whatever. Anyway, so we ate there, and then what she did is she gave us a tour. The USGA has moved a huge portion of their headquarters down to Pinehurst. And you can see, Andrew, go ahead and put that there. There's still construction going on. There's trucks. There's tape. You can see cones up. They're still in the middle of literally finishing building. You can see there's crews working while I was there. Their hope is to have this completed by the U.S. Open, which I'm sure they will. It looked almost complete to me. Beautiful facilities. The greens section of the USGA is going to be housed there. And the testing center will be there. Now, Andrew, go to 217. No one has ever seen this. This is like 2 weeks old. They just put this in. This is their new testing center. I'm looking through a window inside one of those buildings, the Iron Byron there, testing in one of the new golf balls, and one of the USGA officials there
Were you
going
supposed
in
to
there.
videotape that?
I don't know, but I did.
Okay, that's a good answer.
So this has definitely not been seen by anybody in the public yet. This is part of their new facilities. And I was told that this was incredibly challenging to put together because it has to be climate controlled, pressure controlled. It has to be very, very a very controlled environment because this is where they're doing all of the testing for the equipment standards and the golf ball standards, and the R&A on the other side of the world is doing the same thing, as we well know. So the conditions have to be identical in both places. So they have to make sure that all of these benchmarks are met, which was a challenge, which of course would be a challenge to make sure that everything's pressurized and whatnot. So this was really cool getting to see the inside there here. And as you can show 219, 220. This is, or not, 219 is this is inside of some of the headquarters there.
This is the new USGA headquarters in Pinehurst. It looks done there.
Yes, it's mostly done, Matt. I
Wow.
mean, it's mostly done. It's mostly done. I really don't know what else to say about that. And you can go to 206 there, Andrew. One of the things that surprised me in a very, very good way is their new sort of home away from home at Pinehurst, their headquarters there, is incredibly close to the Pinehurst Resort entrance and clubhouse where the Deuce is. I mean, we're talking about a couple hundred yards, maybe.
Well, there
It's
used to
very,
be,
very
Dom,
close.
if you look...
I thought it was going to be in a different part of Pinehurst. I didn't realize it was going to be so close, butting up against to the golf courses, essentially, is what it's
Well,
doing.
here's what I'm trying to figure
So
out.
the property is spectacular.
If you're standing on the 18th green at number 2, and you're looking, you look forward, you see the Deuce. To your left is the Payne Stewart statue. To the right, there used to be a parking lot to the right side of the clubhouse. The left side, of course, is the big putting green, and then farther down, you've got the cradle.
Andrew, that's a good picture. Put that picture up.
To the right, there
This
used
is
to be a
from-
parking lot. Where is this new USGA headquarters as comparison?
You're
to,
talking about the ginormous parking lot that overlooks the cradle, correct?
That would be to the left of the clubhouse. I'm talking about there used to be a parking lot to the right of the clubhouse near the main road. Coming off the main road.
Yeah, I think that's become part of the Pinehurst Country Club's facilities with pools and stuff. But if you
okay.
look at this photograph, and now we're getting in the weeds because folks that are watching that
There's
have
no
never been
weeds
to
there.
Pinehurst are going to be very confused. But this right now is from the veranda of the new building that I was just showing you pictures of and video of. Now, looking out, right, to your right, in that on your screen there is the back end of the parking lot that is across the street or across the way from the cradle and the driving range for what's going to be the driving range for the U.S. Open. So looking at this photo, if you were to look directly at that parking lot, right, if you look through those trees, that's the cradle and the putting course at Pinehurst. And when I say through those trees, I'm talking about 150 yards maybe. So that's how close it is to the facilities
it.
at Pinehurst.
Now I know where it is.
Right
Yeah.
there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I know how you
So
did it.
when you're
Where it is.
driving up, to the clubhouse in a shuttle, because at Pinehurst they do a wonderful job shuttling people around. If you're going to play, for example, at number 2, you have to pass by this USGA Golf Pinehurst house on your way to getting dropped off to play number 2, or there's various tee boxes there. You can tee off for number 4 there as well. So those were the facilities there. And then, Andrew, you can go to the first 2 pictures that we didn't get a chance to show, 208, 209. This right here is Pine Wild. And a very, very special thanks to Kyle and Chris at Pine Wild, who were kind enough to help facilitate me getting to play a round of golf there in the morning before I met with the USGA. You can go to the other picture there too, Andrew. That's another, I think that was one of the par 5s there. Beautiful facilities, incredible golf course. I believe it was a Gary Player design. I really appreciate them sort of helping me out. And I very rarely get to play golf now with my 2 young kids. I get out. I think last year I played 7 rounds of golf, Matt. So I was thrilled to get a chance to even play golf. And then, I had a great day, Matt. Play golf at Pine Wild, and then I go and I eat at the Deuce, and then I walk around and check out the new USGA stuff. I get to see the scaffolding, Pinehurst number 2 right there. I had a great day. It was fantastic.
That is really amazing. This video
it was
right
awesome.
here, this bootleg video that you snuck out of the USGA.
Yeah, bootleg video for sure. It's through a window, obviously. I'm not in the room because it's pressurized
Obviously,
and
yeah,
highly
you
illegal
like-
for me to be
you
in
could-
there.
She'd be like, "Hey, Janine, what kind of bird is that out that window?" She said, "Where are you looking?" Meanwhile, you're filming this guy testing the new golf ball. with the Ira and Byron. I like how it is so accurate. They have one little like curtain that the ball's hitting. That's all it needs.
You know what's interesting, Matt? We don't know. It's unknown whether or not that is one of the new distance challenged golf balls. We don't know.
I don't think they're using the word distance challenge, Dom, just as a
Okay, well, I don't know. Whatever it's
technical
called.
note.
The rolled back golf ball. The testing of the rolled back golf ball. That could have been what it is. We don't know.
All right,
Never know.
1 hour and 5 minutes.
All right, we crossed the 1 hour mark. Can we take a break?
1 hour and 5 minutes was the segment. Hey, as you guys know, a couple things I want to tell you. All the sound that we have, and I'll give you an idea of what we have in store for you. Nelly Korda, after her historic victory, second major championship, I mean, what she's doing to have 5 times in a row and still be active. Maya Stark, Brooke Henderson, Lauren Coughlin, Wyndham Clark, Miles Russell, that's the 15-year-old kid, Billy Horschel, Wesley Bryan, all of that sound you're going to be able to find parked on the Fairways of Life YouTube channel. Okay? The other thing which I really want to tell you about today, because in a second when I say goodbye here, Dom, we're done. We're at 1 hour and 6 minutes for the first segment, and the first show that I think ever done that's only one segment. Print that. So we tomorrow are giving away the Callaway AI Smoke driver. And the response that we have gotten from all of you guys has been incredible, out of this world, way more than what we expected. And it's been so much fun for us to see. We're only giving away 1, not 3. And don't keep them in your trunk because they will smoke. I'm kidding. So we're gonna keep the good times rolling. After we do this Callaway AI Smoke driver, we're gonna start a giveaway for a set of irons. Hopefully I'll have time because the driver giveaway's not till tomorrow. And then Wednesday I fly out of town and go up to NBC Sports for a couple weeks of hosting shows up there. And we'll be in our Studio 2 studio for Fairways of Life, which you can't wait. Love it. Hopefully we'll have time to launch that second giveaway before I go. What's the matter, Dom? Everything all right? Are you talking? He's not on the air again. Could you see that?
No, I just went to check in on the comments, and some of them are very funny. Dom drinking Long Island's early, LOL. Quote, let's move Liv to Norway in the summer so they can finish at 2 a.m., end quote. Dom, eventually.
Think out of the box.
Think out of the box, yeah. Well, I stand by what I said.
Yes, and I'm sure you do.
It makes no sense for all these things to be finishing at the same time on the same day. It's
well,
stupid.
that's a
It needs to be
different
changed.
thing than the way you try to describe
No, it's
it.
not.
The concept of, can we spread some things around a little bit? Thank you very much. That makes sense. Everyone's on board with that, and it's okay. And you can take events like Corn Ferry Tour and move them to the middle of the week.
Hold on a second.
How much is that going to change ratings?
Before we go,
wait a minute.
Let's make this very simple. Very simple. If you were going to maximize ratings for the RBC Heritage, absolute maximize,
you wouldn't finish
what
it
days of
Monday
the week
at 8
and what
a.m.
times of day would you air it?
As late as possible on a weekend.
But you can't. That's terrible. That is right up against the NBA and NHL playoffs.
I know.
How are you going to maximize ratings doing that? That's not going to maximize ratings.
Your other option is, I mean, you could get me into an argument and say, well, if you could push it tee times as late as possible, given light, on a Friday, then I'd be like, maybe, because are the working trends because you said the United States is the primary market that you're talking about here. Are working trends in the United States shifting so that by Friday afternoon, most people are like, take the tie off, I'm out of here by noontime? I don't know. Right? I don't know the answer to that. Remember when Mike Wan was commissioner of the LPGA, and I used to say this to him all the time, Mike, why do you go Thursday through Sunday and you're up against the PGA Tour on a Sunday afternoon? Why wouldn't you go Wednesday through Saturday? And he said, because the ratings spike enough on a Sunday that even when we're up against the primary, we still get better ratings than we have when we're alone on a Saturday.
In order for ratings to be maximized, in my opinion, women and men, doesn't matter. It must be on network
Whoever.
television.
Oh, network.
It's got to be on
TV.
network.
Okay. All right.
So NBC, CBS, ABC, Fox. That's where you're going to get the most people watching, full stop. And that's got nothing to do with USA or Golf Channel or anything. That's just like if I put anything on, anything, it could be a video of me drinking this iced tea. If that's on at 7 p.m. on Fox, it's going to get 1 million people, minimum, bare minimum. That's what happens. It's network.
Day drinking with Dom on NBC.
If you want to maximize ratings, Matt, my argument would be, don't go up against other sports. If we got if the RBC Heritage finished on Tuesday night on network television, they would do better ratings.
Tom, it's a day game. There's nothing they can do.
Sure there is. Build lights. What do you mean there's nothing they can do?
All right. Day Drinking with Dom is a new show that's going to be featured on the network. The issue with the network, too, now you got to think about it from a network perspective because everyone's saying, like we saw yesterday with Chevron, it's a major championship. It should be network TV. But network TV is also their highest value. Right? So if you're a network, whatever network it is, you've got to find a way to maximize the value of what you do in order for you to keep doing what you do. So how do you maximize the value of PGA Tour events, of LPGA Tour events, of whatever tour you want to go to, live that's on CW? How do you maximize that value? It has to come down to someone that's willing, a network pays a rights fee, someone that's willing to pay maximum dollars for advertising in said program to cover the rights fees. There's some events that a big network would do, and they call it a loss leader because it pulls in eyeballs so they can get you to watch something else. I understand that. I'm not sure if golf is a loss leader. So these networks look at it and go, it's all well and good that you guys have these great aspirations for the game of golf and where you want to place it, when you want to place it, and what leagues you want to have on the network because it maximizes ratings. What's in it for us? How do we cover our costs? Because it's incredibly expensive to do it. It's not easy. The things we're coming up with, the answers are not easy. And then what happens if it's like yesterday at the Chevron where the round is over 6 hours? And you got a network executive someplace that's rolling their eyes going, oh my gosh.
Separate discussion, Matt.
Right?
That's a separate problem.
Where on a Sunday night on CBS, say, you've got one of their absolute gold mine programmings in 60 minutes, and what happens when things run long? Right, it's a whole other question.
I mean, yeah,
1 hour and 13 minutes.
The pace of play issue to me. I mean, as long as we're day drinking with Dom, which a lot of people seem to be talking about right now on
they like that
chat there. They yeah, it's iced tea. In fact it's all gone, or was it?
Dom, you're the only one questioning that right now. We all know.
So as long as apparently I'm over the line, I might as well stay over the line. And in my opinion, the answer to pace of play is black and white, and it's strict. It's not, oh, you penalize them. It has to be incredibly penalizing. Like, could you do something, Matt, where it's like, because the first few groups set the pace. So like if you're in the first 4 groups and you don't finish in under 5 hours, you're disqualified or something like that.
5 hours, wow, yeah. Disqualified.
Under 5 hours.
There you go. Outside the lines thinking. Day drinking with Dom.
You're banned.
Network.
Or you could just be banned. That's another way to do it. If you don't finish in under 6 hours, you're banned from the tour.
the problem with what they do with any and all of this stuff is that if any time anyone talks about fines related to slow play, when you start to actually hit people with strokes, that equates to a lot more money than the fines. You're going to get reaction from players if it comes down to, and the other thing, which they're starting to do, is you can't make it by group. You can't do this group association because now you're being unfair because it's usually one player. And now you're being unfair to the other player or players. Like they're somehow going to be putting peer pressure on that one slow player because a league, a tour, a tournament, what have you, doesn't have the intestinal fortitude to say, no, we know who the slow player is. We know exactly what's going on, and we're going to assess a penalty to that person. They won't do it. That's the issue. Another question, another story, another day, another discussion. 1 hour, 15 minutes. Record time for segment 1. All that sound that I told you and promised you that the guys worked so hard on and John cut up and all the rest, it will be posted on our Fairways of Life YouTube channel. The one thing I never got a chance to finish talking to you about because of the irregularities of day drinking with Dom, the Callaway AI Smoke Driver giveaway is tomorrow. You still can sign up for it. You still can get in the running and have a chance to win this driver, which is worth, as I understand it, Dom, tens of thousands of dollars, given your future winnings. So if you log on to, you can see it right on your screen, at Matt Adams FOL, on X, on Instagram, on both places, there's a rundown of what you need to do and how to get in. And we wish you guys the best of luck. We wish you guys a great Monday. What a show. One segment, guys. We hardly did anything today. This is the way we should do it all the time. One and done. Have a great one. Bye for now.
PGA Tour Superstore pros aren't born. They're made. Every January, hundreds of associates talk to the top manufacturers. Learn about the latest clubs. Test the newest equipment. Log thousands of hours of training. And together, hit over 100,000 balls. All so they can get you the perfect fit.
In Ireland, golf is more than just a game. Come and experience our world-famous links courses and our world-famous Parkland courses, all set alongside world-famous scenery. And visit our world-famous historic sites. And while you're here, enjoy our world-famous hospitality. Fill your heart with Ireland at ireland.com/golf.
Ben Hogan Golf Equipment is back. Established in 1953, we serve golfers who demand excellence of their equipment. Designed by the game's best engineers, forged in the world's best foundries, and built to order in the USA. Don't settle for off-the-rack disappointment. Elevate your game with custom clubs at direct-to-consumer pricing. Exclusively at benhogangolf.com. That's benhogangolf.com.
The Gen 6 iron is a culmination of everything that we have learned as a team, the absolute best golf club I've ever hit. It's something special. Say hello to the new PXG Gen 6 iron. The longest, most accurate irons we've ever made. They go higher and farther than any iron that I have hit to date, and they're so easy to hit. Super excited for the consumer to try these. They're gonna love them.
PXG, nobody makes golf clubs the way we do, period.
Baseball? Nah. Football? Done it. I think I'm gonna go after the PGA Tour.
Playing on the PGA Tour is not easy. But you know what is easy? Hitting the 524 series from Tour Edge.
Hitting linebackers and home runs used to be easy.
Out here, you're gonna need all the easy you can get.
Introducing the 524 series from Tour Edge. The easiest clubs you'll ever hit. Even the best players in the world can use a little easy.
I like the sound of that. Look out, PGA Tour.
Pound for pound, nothing comes close.
Boyne Golf provides the ultimate world-class golf destination with 10 championship-caliber courses spanning 3 resorts. Centered in Michigan's northern Lower Peninsula, the courses are the products of some of the game's masters, including Robert Trent Jones Sr., Arthur Hills, and Donald Ross. From the all-inclusive vacation packages, elite instruction with the Boyne Golf Academy, tournaments, and so much more, Boyne Golf truly offers an unrivaled Michigan golf vacation experience. Just log on to boynegolf.com